is profit, pass the test. Bitcoin's buzzing, ether humming, wallets fat, them charts be drumming. NFTs could be something, or just art folks overcoming. Coins flip faster than flapjacks on a skillet. Bear a bull, I'ma milk it. Knowledge profit, gotta drill it. Good morning, crypto, rise and shine. Green candles climbing, feeling fine. Knowledge is profit, read the signs. Dollar bills dancing in the sunrise. Charts on my mind like a map to El Dorado. Dipped in the dips, now my pockets hit the lotto. Wallet stacked heavy like a barn full of hay. Hodl through the storm till the skies turn gray. Bull run stampede, hear the thunder in the distance. Ride it, rope it, profits persistence. Mining for gold in this blockchain stream. Dreams ain't far-fetched when you're chasing the dream. Wake up, get up, hit refresh. The future's digital, cash is flesh. Stacks on stacks, no time to rest. Knowledge is profit, pass the test. Rooster crowing, profit flowing, screens are growing, let's get going. Stacks to the moon while a banjo strumming it. Knowledge drama, pass the test.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
There we go. Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. I don't know what is going on with Streamlabs, but they just dropped an update. I updated yesterday, and it's absolutely screwed up all of my settings. So I don't have any hotkeys. It's doing the whole interlaced stuff again. So the stream might drop. We will just see how long it makes it this time. But I do have one news article to kind of dive on into, talking about Warren Buffett and some bull market topping, not on the crypto side of things, but on the TradFi side. You know, if the TradFi side tops out on a bull market, you see that affect the crypto markets as well. So we will dive on into that in just a second. We've got that stock heat map pulled up in the background though, so let's dive on over there and see what we got going on this morning, because there's a little bit of movements to the upside and a little bit of movements to the downside. Looking a little bit different than the crypto markets this morning though. We do have Apple sitting up 0.37%. We've got Nvidia up 1.31%. Berkshire Hathaway sitting down 0.23%. We've got Amazon up 0.2%. Eli Lilly sitting a little bit to the downside this morning, down 0.16. We've got ExxonMobil also sitting a little bit to the downside, down 0.27. We've got Tesla looking to the upside this morning after a very green close yesterday. Closed 3.31% towards the upside and up 1.57% this morning. We got P&G down 0.32. Microsoft down 0.34. We've got Google down 0.2% and Meta looking in the green this morning, up 0.75. Let's hop over to the crypto side of things because things are a little different over there. As you can see, nothing but green bubbles. Bitcoin did make a higher high on the macro at a point we were looking at yesterday. So let's get through all of this, and then we can get to that Bitcoin chart because we got to a key level we were talking about. We got Bitcoin up 2.1, Ethereum up 2.2, we've got XRP up 1.7, we've got BNB up 1.5, we've got Solana up 3.9, Dogecoin sitting up 6.7%, Tron up 0.7, seeing a little red on that hourly. We've got Cardano up 2.4. We've got Chainlink up 1.7. Hyperliquid sitting up 4.5. Avalanche looking a little red on the daily, down 0.4. Sweet sitting up 4.4. We've been talking about Stellar Lumens quite a bit here. It is up 4.9%. Finally broke out of some resistance. We'll have to take a look at that chart in a little bit. We've got Bitcoin Cash down 0.1%. We've got HBAR up 3.4%. Litecoin up a whopping 11.4%. Might need to look at that chart as well. And we've got Leo token All right. Let me zoom this on out a little bit further though. We've got this 2-week looking a little nice for some liquidity. We've been talking about that 2-week liquidity for quite a while, and we've started grabbing up a lot of that top side liquidity. Zoom this on out just a little bit further here. We're going to take a look at that 3-month to really see our top side liquidity. If it'll load, you can kind of see we have started grabbing some of what was hot on that 1 month, and we don't have a whole lot more liquidity in either direction unless we start dropping way back to the lows. So looking a little bit nice with how that fear and greed is. We're barely in some greed now. We have reclaimed a level that I've been talking about for a while, and we will have to see if we can continue towards the upside. Getting over to that Bitcoin chart, we will skip over some of that data because we got to get to some of the things we've been talking about here. As you can see, we've had this key level marked out for quite a while. Let me get that moved on over here. And we finally got back above it. We did create a massive fair value gap on that move towards the upside here. Waiting to see if we can get back into it just a little bit here. But we do have a nice area to hold up at our current range. And that is going to be 118,150. That is that point of control for this whole range, and we'll have to see if we can hold it because that'll give us the support to really continue towards the upside here. As you can see, I did talk about making that higher macro high. We've got that high from here that rejected off of the point of control, and now we're making that higher high here. We've got the higher lows as well, so we'll just have to wait to see if we drop back into this fair value gap, at least touch back on the midline. That's coming in at 116,600 and continue on towards the upside there. We do have this golden pocket fib extension that we've been talking about for a while too. That's coming in at 114,927. That would also close out the fair value gap. So kind of an area to keep in mind as we see a little bit of some sell-off this morning. If we do continue to sell off, this fair value gap is directly below us if we lose that point of control. So let's get this zoomed on in. Take a look at this 4 hour here. The 4 hour still looking toppy as we're getting that continued curvature here on the MACD, and that prime oscillator coming in with a bearish divergence. So you can see that money flow looking a little bit sideways as well. We will have to see if we hold this point of control here or if we start dipping back into that fair value gap. Lot of support areas underneath us. You can see that golden pocket fib extension was resistance. We were talking about that the other day. Would be a nice area to come back and show as some support. Would also be a higher low, close out the fair value gap, and then we could continue towards the upside. That would allow for some cool off on all of these shorter time frames, because we haven't really got that heavy green money flow bleeding over into the daily yet. Would really like to see us close out that gap. For now, we are holding the top side of the gap as support though. So that top side coming in at 118, looks like 400. If we start breaking into that, that would be a move to kind of watch for way down here at that 116,600. Taking a look at that 1 hour. 1 hour also looking a little bit toppy here, but the thing holding us up for now is going to be all of this green money flow here. Let me get it moved over a little bit so you can see it just a little bit better. There we go. All this green money flow here is holding us up on the daily. We also have a bearish divergence here on the hourly, the volume holding quite steady, and we will kind of have to see if we can get this cooled off with a little bit of sideways momentum on top of the fair value gap. If we don't hold that fair value gap, look back down to that level that I was just talking about. This is going to be our current support for now. We are seeing a lot of toppiness on these shorter term time frames, and that is leading to a little bit of worry if that money flow starts slowing down just a little bit. For now, money flow is looking absolutely incredible, and we've been talking about watching that money flow on the shorter term time frame to see if we can get that bleed over into our higher term time frame. Just keep your eyes on that. We do need a little bit of some cool down here, but we do have plenty of room to continue running on that daily time frame, and that could lead us up to that next little target I've got, and that's going to be the platinum pocket and $121,000. I see CCM in the chat this morning. Good morning to you. He said, I can't believe I get to see BC Port Corp live. Yeah, well, we've been pushing that showtime back to our old school time, and I've been enjoying it. We get a little more viewers. We have a lot more fun because the chat flows just a little bit better there. Or I'm saying we going up or else. Grr. Yeah, well, I mean, there's plenty of overheating here, but that daily is what I've been watching. We've been talking about getting these big body candles here on the shorter term time frame that allows for that bleed over into the higher term time frame. Seeing a little bit of some cool off to continue that move towards the upside. Not too unexpected here. That's why I do talk about some levels towards the bottom side, because if you do break into that fair value gap, it is a quick move to the downside. That would just allow for a very quick move towards the upside here, because as you can see, we get those nice moves to the downside, and then we really blast off once we get above that key area that we've talked about. We talked about the golden pocket fib extension. Once we got above it, it was a quick launch all the way up to that point of control. So definitely do have some potential for a little bit of downside there. That's why I more so talked about the midline coming in at that 116,600 point than the golden pocket all the way down here. that would be the first area I would really watch for some support. We like to test the midlines of gaps and then continue on in the direction that we are already heading. So taking a look at that 15-minute there, we do have a lot of overheating here as well, but that money flow continuing to hold us up, and we're seeing a little bit of some cool off as we run a little bit sideways here on top of that fair value gap. So definitely going to be watching that money flow, see if we hold that fair value gap or if we get that move to the downside here. We are above that point of control. I did talk about that point of control being retaken, being a bullish move for me. You know, we did make that higher low, really waiting to see if we hold that point of control or if we at least test the midline of that gap so that we can have nice cool off to really continue above that $121,000 target that I have my eye on. All right, I did have a poll in the chat for a trade to take. We got Bitcoin, XRP, or AVAX. Looks like 67% is that vote for Bitcoin. So we can get that going at the end of the show. We got several people in here. Conspiracy Crypto sliding on in here. R Pink as well. Good morning to you. We got Dylan VA asking for ISRG stock for long-term investment. Well, we can take a look at that as well. I did see a request away at the beginning. Zcash. We can take a look at that as well. So Zcash and what was that? ISRG. We can take a look at that as well. ISRG. Let me get over to this news article real quick, and then we will dive into some of those requests. We got Leon Cooperman says, we've reached the stage of the bull market that Warren Buffett warned about. Diving on in here, we got longtime investor Leon Cooperman believes we're in the late innings of a bull market where bubbles can form and risks rise, a stage of the cycle that Warren Buffett warned about. The CEO of Omega Family Office read a quote from the Oracle of Omaha on CNBC's Money Movers Wednesday, which he said fit neatly with what we're seeing right now. Once a bull market gets underway and you reach the point where everybody has made money, no matter what system he or she followed, a crowd is attracted into the game that is responding not to interest rates and profits, but simply to the fact that it seems like a mistake to be out of stocks, Buffett said in a 1999 quote. So it's what's going on now, Cooperman said, adding that investors' mood is very similar and valuation on artificial intelligence companies is ridiculously high. The S&P 500 has surged over 40% since April lows, returning to all-time highs, and the rally has been led by mega cap tech giants which have invested billions in artificial intelligence and are being valued richly on the potential of this emerging era. I've talked quite a bit about this. I don't see the same kind of, I do see potential in the long term, but in the short term time frame, all of this money being invested into AI is not really returning any profit. There are some, minimal profits that are being made because you're cutting down on spending in, the personnel departments and things like that. But for the most part, we have really yet to see the actual profit margins on what AI can do for a company. A lot of this is just speculation. And when you have rampant speculation in a market, you normally see a little bit of some bubble and popping that leads to some better entry prices. So we will continue to follow that. There has been massive speculation, especially on the stock side. Everyone's been winning over there. If you've invested in some nice tech companies, and even if you haven't, there's been a lot of people winning, and it hasn't really mattered where you've put it. So to see things kind of cool off just a little bit, is definitely expected. And we've been warning about it for a while, especially with how some of that economic data is looking. So let's dive into a few of these requests that we had. Let's start with that stock, ISRG. Haven't heard of that one before, but we can definitely take a look at it. ISRG. All right, let's see what. Oh, I have heard of it before. We've actually taken a look at it together. Looks like we are dropping into a CME gap. Let's zoom this on out to the daily time frame. Right back to the midline of that CME gap. We're sitting at the 1618 on a fib extension there. I did talk about a buy zone way down here. So let's get this zoomed out on a little bit of a higher time frame here. See what we're looking at. And weeklies looking nice and cooled off here. Definitely have a little bit more potential to kind of drop on down. We will kind of have to watch this money flow way down here. We are sitting in the red, but we're getting a lot of bottoming indicators here. Prime oscillator getting that curvature back towards the upside. We don't have a secondary reversal signal that has flashed just yet, but we are bouncing off the midline of that CME gap and holding that 1618 on our fib extension levels quite nicely here. So definitely looking like a nice little a potential nice entry point if you can get some money flow headed back in on that shorter term time frame. Let's see what daily's looking like. Daily is trying to get a little bit heated up here. We are trying to hold that golden pocket fib extension. We will kind of have to see, because we are in a little bit of a downtrend. We've got that lower high. We've got the very equal lows. So to see that get swept first before you really continue on towards the upside, definitely a move to kind of watch for. So that's why we do have that green box all the way down here. It is all the way down at $3.99, so about a $40 drop towards the downside would kind of lead me towards a little bit of a buy zone. Also continue to cool off. That would allow these higher term time frame oscillators to kind of get that nice little curvature towards the upside, because I bet you've got some overheating on the shorter term time frame there. Definitely looking a little bit toppy on the shorter term time frame here. Let's get it zoomed on in so you can see it a little bit better. You're really struggling to maintain above our zero line on that MACD, getting some curvature back towards the downside. Prime oscillator also did get a little bit overheated as we rejected off of the top side of that CME gap. You can see it here. We got that nice little reversal signal. Got a bullish divergence, so on the short-term time frame could definitely hit another little move towards the upside. Looks like pre-market is opening up pretty much exactly where it closed. So to see another rejection off of the top side of the CME gap and then continue on towards the downside of that midline coming in at 436 would not be too unexpected, especially with how that higher term time frame is looking. Does look like you could continue to see a little bit of sell-off. I'm not sure what this company does, so I'll have to dive on into that before I can really give too much evaluation on the longer term time frame. But we did see some other interesting things as well. That 10-year yield, been talking about that for a while. It is getting bought up, so we are seeing those rates come down just a little bit. I would like to see us break our long support here. This has been running since we saw this top here. We've held that ever since and would really like to see that get broken beneath. But we're starting to see some reversal signals on that higher term time frame. We do have that daily also looking like you could continue to see a little more buying up, especially with the government shutdown and things like that, to continue to see people run towards safety. Not too unexpected here. So would like to see us at a break below support. Would be a little bit bullish for the markets as well. You get some lower borrowing rates. Definitely just watching to see way down here at about that 4% level, if we can break below that and really see us continue towards the downside there. But we could definitely hold up that 4% zone and then continue on back towards the upside. See a little bit of some sell-off there. All right, we had Zcash requested, so let's get that one pulled on up. Let me get that hidden so we can see the better time frame there. Get over to crypto and then see what's going on some Zcash. We'll go on this one. Jesus, nice strong move towards the upside there. This is a daily chart as well, so very, very strong move. Let's really get that zoomed on out here, see that history where we might start seeing a little bit of some resistance at. I did see DDT in the chat. He said good morning fam, a bit late. Well, better late than never, as I always say. Glad you showed on up. Hope you're having a great day so far. Let's see, we do have a few little areas to kind of watch for some horizontal resistance at. Let's kind of see what's going on a fib level first, though. So we got our lows, our high to our lows. Looks like we rejected off of the 382 there. So definitely an area that is coming in as a little bit of resistance. That 50% would be that next real level to watch for. Daily, definitely a little bit overheated here. Could potentially come back down to that 382. Really see a little bit of bouncing in that area as everything's a little bit overheated on the daily. Let's see how things are looking on that shorter term time frame. We got that 4 hour also just as overheated. You can see that nice strong rejection off of the 382. Could easily get that move above it though if we continue to see some nice money flow coming on here. And really have to zoom that on in to see those candles just a little bit better. We've also got the bearish divergence here on the 4 hour for Zcash as well to see us come back down and not hit on the 236 could also be a potential here. We do have an area of interest right here where we got those double rejections at 128. That'd be more of a shorter term time frame there. There we go, got that marked on out. 128 would be that first real area to see some cool off on. We are seeing a lot of selling pressure coming on in at the 382, as you can see with those wicks. So definitely a little bit of an area of resistance. If we can get above that though, really need to get back all the way over here to potentially see what little areas of resistance we might see next. Let me just get that over to the daily and then we can kind of zoom that on in here. All right, there we go. We do have an area directly above the 382 where we could potentially see some resistance as well. 171. Let's get that as a higher term time frame. You can also see it has been resistance before as well. So 171 being that resistance here and here and here as well. Definitely an area we would need to get above to kind of continue on up to that 50% line. So if we can get above the 382, then you could definitely make your way all the way up to that 170 level. Do need to get above that 382 first. That is our local resistance for now. Let's see what that 15-minute is looking like. Trying to cool off with some sideways momentum underneath that 382. We are still in a little bit of an uptrend here as we're making those higher lows, and definitely have that flat top resistance at the 382 and $153. So local resistance that we need to get above first to really continue on towards the upside. Looks like the stream tried to mess up there. I'll have to fix a few settings a little bit later before we go live tomorrow. So we got any other alt requests to take a look at? If not, I can take a look at a few of those assets that I've been talking about for a while. Looks like AVAX is number 2 in that poll. Bitcoin still holding strong with 55% on those votes. So definitely looking like Bitcoin could continue towards the upside if we hold that 382 or hold that it was the fair value gap and the point of control. So we're watching to hold that this morning. If we can hold that, could definitely continue towards the upside. We're getting that cool off on the shorter term time frame. All right, we did have the dollar also continuing in a little bit of a downtrend there. Let's get that zoomed in to that hourly. We are below a key level I've talked about over and over, and we're seeing those lower highs come in and those lower lows as well. Definitely looking like we could try to get that push back up towards 97.73 and then continue on towards the downside with how those higher time frames are looking here. As you can see, that daily really getting that strong curvature and remaining below that zero line there. Get that zoomed on out a little bit more, as you can see, and that prime oscillator getting a curvature as well. So dollar still in a little bit of a downtrend, but it is more of a cool off and consolidation downtrend than anything else. We've got our nice strong support down at 96.37. We would really need to break below that first to continue on towards the downside with some strength.